Hey, what's up guys? Today, I wanted to bring you a video going over how to properly install your VPE GET SX1 ECU on a 2024 YZ250F. This video will apply to the 2023 to 2025 YZ450, as well as the 2024 and 2025 YZ250F. The first thing that we're going to need to do is remove the seat, airbox cover, and fuel tank so that we have access to the wiring and the ECU's location. So now that we've removed the seat, airbox cover, and fuel tank, we have access to the ECU's location underneath the battery box. Now, what I've also done is remove the two bolts that hold the battery box to the subframe. That way we can tilt it up and have an easier time getting these off of their tabs. The stock unit mounts with a rubber grommet over the tab in the front here. It's a struggle to get it off, as well as a tab in the rear, which you can see somewhat right there. So basically, you have to slide it off the front and then slide it off the rear, and now you've removed the OEM ECU. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Got it. Okay, so you are now ready to install your VPE GET SX1 ECU. All right. Now that we've removed the OEM ECU, let's go over everything that you'll receive in the box when you purchase a GET ECU through us. Obviously, the ECU, specific to the Yamaha, is this mounting bracket that allows the ECU to be attached to the underside of the battery box. Your Wi-Fi comm, which will allow you to make additional fuel and timing adjustments on top of the custom maps that we've installed, just like the Yamaha Power Tuner app allows you to make adjustments to the OEM ECU. On top of that, it also has features like an hour meter, diagnostics, to let you know if any of your sensors have gone bad or been unplugged. Your multifunction map switch that allows you to switch between maps, activate traction control and launch control, and the extension cable to run this from the handlebar to the ECU. And then last but not least, your reset TPS cable that allows you to set your motorcycle's TPS to the ECU. That way, if you switch your ECU to a different motorcycle, this cable allows it to relearn multiple times. Now we can begin installing the GET ECU and handlebar map switch. Start by installing the ECU into the harness. Make sure you hear that click. I like to start with the rear tab first. Slide the ECU's mounting bracket over the rear tab, and then slide it over the front tab. It should be a tight fit. That'll keep your ECU from rattling around while you ride. We've installed that. I like to make sure that the wires coming off of the ECU are not tangled or pinched and point towards the left side of the motorcycle. So I've already mounted the handlebar switch and routed its cable along the bar and in front of the triple clamp. This is where you would plug in your extension cable to reach from the ECU to the handlebar map switch. Now this is where it gets somewhat up to your discretion. This Wi-Fi module can be mounted anywhere on the motorcycle. The way that this cable's run, the single side goes to the ECU, and the splitter side, one will go to the handlebar map switch and one will go to the SX1 Connect. It's totally up to you where you want to mount the SX1 Connect. Some people will mount it up under the front number plate. Some people like to mount it behind the airbox. And this goes for all brands of motorcycle. The SX1 Connect can be mounted wherever you like. Obviously, I'd avoid keeping it too close to the engine just so it doesn't overheat. What I like to do on the Yamaha is actually take this cable, gently fold one back, and then what I will do is I'll run some zip ties and electrical tape along this connector to then have the single side go up to the map switch and route the other splitter backwards towards where the OEM Wi-Fi module is. I'll remove this Wi-Fi module and then mount GET's SX1 Connect in its place. So I just finished routing the wires. I just wanted to go over in detail for anybody who might be confused on what the proper routing is for it. So this is the handlebar switch wire. I route it down through this cable holder next to the throttle cables, down underneath the radiator hose, which you can just feed in from the top and it'll stick out through the bottom and you can grab it. I've run it underneath the air box. You do not need to remove this. There's enough space to route the cable. And then, as you can see, I've zip tied it to the main harness wire. There is the folds that I've made. Make sure you don't pinch that too tight, just to avoid future damage. But I've taken some shrink wrap and heated it up so that it keeps it firm and against itself. And then I have used some good electrical wiring harness tape and basically tape these two wires together. Now, I know it's already a mess down here from Yamaha, but you can see this is the get cable. I run it all the way up and then loop it around back here. You have some extra length. This cable is your splitter that will go to your ECU wire, which is sticking out here from the ECU. And then this right here is your get SX1 cable that is, I've already plugged it in, but you can see they are connected. That would be your other end of the splitter that we've run backwards. I took that nice and up out of the way. This is the SX1 Connect. As you can see, I have mounted it with zip ties exactly where the OEM Wi-Fi module is. Now, it's important to know that there is a password and unit number for this SX1 Connect on it. There's also a spare password in your box when you receive the get. Make sure that you take a picture of it or record that password. It's a long bunch of random numbers and letters that you can't reset, so make sure that you record that. It's still on this box. What I've done is I've taken a piece of foam and actually put it between the frame and the SX1 to connect to keep it from chafing and destroying that number. But if you take a picture of it and leave it on your phone in your camera roll, you'll always have it to connect to this module. Once your phone is connected to this module, it won't need to be entered every time, just like a regular Wi-Fi password. Your phone will remember it. This is your OEM Wi-Fi module connector, which I've removed. I just dead-ended it with some heat shrink with a plug in the end. You can stuff this up where it wants to be. And then now you can completely reinstall the fuel tank, the airbox cover, the seat, and that side number plate. I've purposely left this plug from the ECU undone from this wiring, and I will leave this number plate off so that we can reset the TPS. I'm going to reinstall everything real quick, and then I will show you that process. Now that we've reinstalled everything, all that's left to do is calibrate the TPS from this ECU to this motorcycle. You take the cable that comes in your box that says reset TPS on it, plug it into the cable coming from your ECU, and then all you'll need to do is touch the positive to the positive and the negative to negative on any battery. It doesn't have to be the battery on the motorcycle, but in this case we're using it. They come with open ends, so somebody will have to hold them here. I'm using alligator clips to hold them in place so that I have two free hands. When you attach this, you'll hear the fuel pump turn on. You want to keep it positive to positive, negative to negative. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold the kill switch with the throttle fully closed. That fuel pump is, the noise that you hear is that setting 0 TPS. Then you're going to hold the throttle completely wide open and do it again. And that sets the wide open TPS. Now you can disconnect everything and your motorcycle is ready to run. Now, technically, this bike is ready to ride. We've installed all the get hardware. I've reinstalled the seat and the left side number plate. I removed the reset TPS cable, and I plugged in the get SX1 Connect in its place to the ECU. I would like to quickly go over this map switch with you and its functions. So, bump the starter and give us some power for a minute. Now, top map, map 1, bottom map, map 2, and then this bottom left button here is traction control. If you activate it, you'll notice that it goes off. If you hold it, you'll see that illuminated on the outside, it's a big 0 in green. That means you're on traction control level 0. If you hold it till it blinks, and then use the map buttons as up and down arrows, you'll notice it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You're adjusting levels of traction control in real time. There's 9, 10 is an H for high, and then back to 0. So let's say we want to try traction control level 3. Let it blink until it remembers. It'll set itself. It's currently off. You'll hit the bottom button and now it activates. It stays on once it's in a number that's not 0, and then you have traction control active for map 1. You'll notice if you hold it for less time than it takes to blink, it'll show you what level it's in. So let's say you want to try level 5. You hold it, it'll blink, go up 2. Now you're on traction control level 5 for map 1. As well, the bottom map has its own memory of levels of traction control. So right now, it's on 0. If I hit it, it wouldn't stay on. If I hold it, now I can reset it. Let's say we want to try traction control level 5. 8. How about 8? We'll do 8. Now it'll stay on. You hit it, it's in 8, but you've turned it off. And then map 1 will be in 5. It remembers its own level. You can turn them on and off independently, try them however you like. This bottom right button is a quick shift button. It allows you to have the quick shift functionality that Get offers. It's only active on certain motorcycles from OEM. You can buy their accessory that puts it on all the motorcycles. And then last but not least is launch control. To activate launch control, your motorcycle has to be running. So I'm going to fire it up, and then all you'll do is hold whichever map you're in, you hold it for 3 to 5 seconds, and then it will blink with a red L indicating that you're in launch control. Once you're in launch control, it will remain active until you shift past third gear on a start and chop the throttle to 0. At that point, it will disengage launch control and it will go back to regular map 1 or map 2, whichever you started on. I'm going to start the motorcycle. You won't be able to hear me, but I will activate launch control just so you can watch it in real time. As you can see, we've activated launch control in map 1 and then turned it off and then activated launch control in map 2, which you're free to do. Whichever map you're using, you hold that button to activate launch control in that map.